I've had so many viewer requests to do a side-by-side video comparison of lures with and without snap swivels, and that is exactly what you are going to get to see today. Now, snap swivels have been around forever, and there are lots of pros and cons to using them. One of the most mentioned positives is the ease of switching lures, and one of the most mentioned negatives is the impact on lure action. But how accurate is that? Well, when it comes to topwater, I think most of us would agree that the added weight of a snap swivel can change how a lure sits, therefore changing how it reacts when used. But what about lures down in the water column? Most of the requests I received were to check out crankbaits and jerkbaits. We'll start with jerkbaits, but wait until you see the crankbaits. I think you'll be surprised. First, let's look at the jerkbait sitting in real time. I tested a size 12 snap swivel, which I feel is oversized for these lures, but wanted to see what happened anyway, and a size 16 snap swivel, which I think is better proportioned, and then without a snap swivel and tied directly to the split ring on the lure. The jerkbait with no snap swivel is on the right, the jerkbait with the size 12 snap swivel is on the left. Clearly, it has a noticeable impact on the buoyancy of the lure, which isn't a surprise for a suspending jerkbait. Now on the left side of your screen is the same jerkbait with the size 16 snap swivel. It still is sinking quicker than the direct line tie, but not nearly as fast. Now let's look at the jerkbait in action. And this footage is in slow motion so you can see it better. With the larger snap swivel, the lure clearly doesn't recover after each rip like it should. It points nose down quite a bit with the extra weight when you compare it to the footage on the right. With the smaller snap swivel, the size 16, the jerkbait recovers much better. There are still times when the extra weight in the front dips the nose down, but not as often. The size 16 snap swivel actually impressed me on the jerkbait. Now let's look at a crankbait. This one is a more traditional deep diver, and we'll look at a square bill in a minute. When comparing the direct line tie to the size 12 snap swivel on the left, which is the bigger one, I was shocked how close they are in action. If you really try to watch and take a close look, the snap swivel lure may not swing left to right quite as far, but honestly, it's pretty close. This is not what I was expecting at all. Now let's swap out the footage on the left with the same crankbait and the smaller size 16 snap swivel. This footage from one to the other is so similar, you can probably say there's no difference in the action at all, at least what is visible to the naked eye. And remember, this is in slow motion, so we can get a better look at it. Once again, I was impressed how well the crankbait did with the snap swivel, especially the smaller one. Now let's look at a square bill with the traditional burn, stop, burn type of a retrieve. Here's the larger number 12 snap, first on the left side of your screen. This is a little 1.5 square bill. I was actually impressed how well the action and direction of the lure responded to that bigger snap swivel. I thought the extra weight would really make a difference with this start-stop type of retrieve. And then when we look at the smaller snap swivel on the same retrieve, it behaves quite similarly to the lure on the right with the direct line tie. Well, what are your thoughts? I honestly expected a much bigger difference than there actually is. Now, as far as why I direct tie to my lures, it helps me to remember to retie more often and eliminate the frays and nicks that you get in your line, especially when banging crankbaits into rocks. And hey, if you would like to watch a video on an alternative or hybrid type of a Carolina rig and some underwater footage of some different retrieves, go ahead and check this one out right here. And make sure that you go out and encourage someone today. You never know how you might just change their life. For the Bass Fishing Life, I'm your host, Steve Rogers.